Everybody say, we are the light. We are the light. That is, light of the world is our theme for this year. And that is my prayer, that before, when you leave tomorrow, that you will have changed some things about your marriage, and that you will be able to model and be that light for others to see a reflection of Jesus. How many want your marriage to be that reflection of Jesus, that others will desire to have what you have? Amen. On the outside, you have worked to look your best tonight. Now, I want you to look at your lady, and I want you to say something really nice to her. She worked hard to get all dressed up. Go ahead and say something to her. Don't look at me. You should be looking at her to go and tell her something awesome. She worked hard to look her best tonight, and maybe you looked hard. Maybe the guys, you worked on looking your best tonight. And a lot of times we work on what the outside appearance looks like, but really this weekend we want to really examine our hearts, right? What did we hear a Sunday? If you were in church, you heard about purifying our heart. That's good, Darwin. Blessed are the pure in heart. How many want to get there? How many want to have a pure heart? Yes. So I'm going to have you take out your paper. I don't want you to let each other see it. And I want you just to evaluate where you feel like your marriage falls. Assess the condition of your marriage and rate it. This is not to make you feel bad, but this is to show you the progress that you need to make. And then you can compare it to see if the both of you, and it will be something tonight when you go back to your room that you can talk about and say, you know what, this is where we rated it, but where do we want to get? What's the goal? And what are some changes that we need to make? And that's really what we're believing for this weekend. You know, as we look around the room, God has done amazing things this year through many of you and many of your marriages. And so number 5 would be, you have a red hot in love with each other and sold out for Jesus. That would be 5. 4 is you've got romance and your walk with Jesus is good. 3, lukewarm in all areas, average. 2, lacking something, not consistent in both areas. You're lacking something. You're not consistent in your love for each other and your love for the Lord. And then 1, barely hanging on by a thread. And that's not to make anybody feel it, but you need to rate, hey, where are we? And where do we want to get to? And so, not that you have to share that right now, but maybe by the end, we're gonna believe that the Lord's gonna help you get. How many want to have a red hot, in love with each other and sold out for Jesus kind of marriage, right? That's our goal, right? So we're going to get there. We're going to believe that each of you are going to have that kind. Ephesians 4:32 says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as Christ God forgave you. That's what the word says. And so it's important to write that down, Ephesians 4:32. Look at your spouse and say, be kind. Be compassionate. All right? That's what the word tells us. So this weekend, from this point on, you can say no more negative words. Okay? If he or she says something negative, they have to come up with 5 things positive. All right? We want to guard our tongue, what we speak. So think before you speak, okay? That's important, what we're speaking. We must receive and grant forgiveness. And so I want to talk to you tonight about forgiveness. We must receive and grant forgiveness. How many know it goes both ways? Many in the room have felt the pain and resentment by those who are closest to us. As I was reading and studying, that is really what it brought out, is that a lot of times it's the people that live with us, the people that know us the best, that we've been hurt the most by. Have you allowed resentment to build up in your relationship? You know, when I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking about the pure in heart, and we're talking about cleaning the heart up. I relate this to our house. Our house gets dusty. How many right now at this point think your house is probably a little dusty? Okay, that's probably most of the hands in here, right? or dirty. I'm not going to ask you to keep raising hands for that, but maybe their shower has a shower build up. In our G12 we talked about that. If you don't give it a regular, give it a good cleaning, right? And so that's what this weekend is. I'm relating it to cleaning. One year we related it to a hospital. This year I'm going to relate it to cleaning. We are going to do some cleaning up this weekend, right? We're going to take some trash out. We're going to throw some stuff away. We're never going to look at it again, right? And so I want you to relate that to this encounter that, you know what? We are going to be the light of the world. We're going to clean out a whole bunch of junk, and we're never going to let it come back into our marriage again. And that's what I'm believing for each of you. I want to tell you a story. I'm going to kind of read it, and then I'll move on from there. There's a story that I read. It says a wife put up with all kinds of mistreatment from her husband. Later, she came to understand the root, everybody say root, of everything that she had gone through. Her mother had confessed words over her life and her marriage that had marked her and laid out the path that would be her future. And so point one is what I want you to write down on this paper is to watch what anyone speaks over you. Line it up with the word. With Jesus, we have the authority to cancel any negative words spoken over us. And so in this story, a mom had spoke negativity and death to her marriage and said some things. And sometimes in our life, we've allowed people to speak into our lives or about our marriage, and we begin to believe it. And so we have that authority to say, no, I do not accept that curse that's been passed down. No, it has to stop here. So I want you to write that down. Watch what anyone speaks over you, and we have the authority to cancel out negative words. As the story goes on, this couple went to church as a last resort. There was an altar call, and the man raised his hand. She thought, what a hypocrite. He can't be sincere. He thinks that through this, he's going to convince me that he's changing, so I will not file for divorce. But, everybody say but. She decided to give it a try, and they both went forward that day. The divorce was postponed. Her desire was to hear him say, I'm sorry. Forgive me for the pain I have caused you. Time went on, and that did not happen. When they went to a marriage encounter, forgiveness came up. She thought, this is it. He will recognize everything he has done. The husband turned and said, my love, I forgive you for everything you have done to me. She could not believe it. She attended the women's encounter. During the ministry, they said, find a substitute who could take the place of the person that we're trying to forgive. And how many have been to an encounter? How many have done that? And there's a release there. It says, beside her was the man's secretary, her husband's secretary, who knew how horrible he had been to her. She said, allow me to be your husband, and began to say the words, forgive me for being harsh, humiliating, hurting, etc. She responded with, I forgive you. It was that day that she was free. She realized that she was looking for her husband to come and ask for forgiveness. In reality, it was she who had the bondage of resentment in her heart. And so when we're talking about the heart, I want you to think about that tonight. Maybe the person has said they were sorry or whatever, but you're holding on to resentment. Psalm 26:2 in the Message says, examine me, Lord, from head to toe. Order your battery of tests. Make sure I'm fit inside and out. And I love the way that reads. Let me say it one more time. Examine me, Lord, from head to foot. How many want the Lord to do that this weekend? From head to foot, he's going to examine each of us, and he's going to show us the things in our life that we've been holding on to, and he's going to clean it out. He's going to do a spring cleaning, right? And just like the cleaners come and they inspect. And you know what? We're going to walk out of here clean. At the end of the encounter, her husband came to get her. When she saw him, she threw herself in his arms and said, my love, I want you to forgive me for being so harsh with you. I've been indifferent. The husband broke down crying. He began to say the words her friend had said at the encounter. That day, true forgiveness took place. The curse of resentment was finally broken. And so I believe that each of us, whatever we've carried in here, that as we confess it, as we say to each other, forgive me, with a pure heart, that God is going to restore back what Satan has tried to tear apart. How many know he wants to kill, steal, and destroy all of our marriages, so we can't be that representation for Christ? How many know that? Point 2, don't wait to hear the words, I'm sorry, first. This is your other point. Don't allow resentment to build up. Remove the log from your eye. Remove resentment from your heart. I'm going to say that again in case you wanted to write all of that down. It says, don't wait to hear the words that I'm sorry first. Don't allow resentment to build up. Remove resentment from your heart. Remove the log from your eye. And so I see some words in here that I want to highlight. One of them is remove, right? And so what can we do? I want to get out some cleaners here. Got some cleaners. All right. Get out the cleaner and super scrub and scrubber and scrub away this weekend. Look at your spouse and say, we're going to do some scrubbing. Right? We're going to get rid of some mess, right? Some dirt, some whatever's in there, until we have a pure heart. And, so I want you to look at these cleaners, and maybe I want you to write down the ones that represent what you think your marriage needs, okay? So first of all, some Lysol. Disinfectant spray gets rid of 99.9%. We want 100% though, right? I should have changed that number on there, right? This is Jesus. He's ready to spray, get rid of all the germs, all the infection in your marriage. Amen? You see it? There's the tool. He's going to spray it, and he's going to get rid of all the infection that's been caused and get rid of the germ, and so that you can be healthy, a healthy marriage. This is pledge. All of you can't see it. Okay? Anybody know what this is for? Okay. Alex went and run to get this stuff for me. He wasn't sure what this was. Pledge is for those that are here for maintenance for your marriage, for some shining up. How many need some shining up? Maybe this is your 15th encounter and you've gotten rid of most of the unforgiveness or anything like that, but you need some shining up, right? All right, so there you're going to shine up, so you'd be the light to show to others. Here, this is some air freshener. Get rid of all that stink. You need your spark reunited. What? Oh. Fresh, beautiful, sweet-smelling marriage. That's what this represents. Do you need to get rid of the stink? Some stinky stuff in your marriage, all right? And you need the spark reunited, all right? So it's fresh and beautiful, and it has a good aroma. Then we have good old Clorox bleach, all right? What's that going to do? It's going to get the terrible stains that just won't go away. There's things in our marriage that we just have not been able to get rid of. And this weekend, we're going to pour some bleach on it. This is Jesus. We're going to pour the bleach on it, and we're going to remove all the stains, and you're going to be washed pure white. How many knows that's what bleach does? That's what Jesus does, right? Everybody getting it? All right. Terrible stains that just won't go away. Apply forgiveness, and it's like the magic eraser. Anybody ever use this? The magic eraser. I wish I would have got everybody one of these for your favor, right? Speaking of favors, we hope that they'll be here tomorrow. You usually get a really nice mug Don't think that we're being cheap, that we didn't do it this year. We did do it. They just aren't here yet. So hopefully on your way out, you're going to get a nice mug. Not that why I had to say that there, I don't know. But anyway, this is the magic eraser. And that's what I know that Jesus can do. When we allow him to come in and scrub us up, he can erase it all. And that's what I love about this weekend, is that we've seen it happen in many marriages, that they've come in here and they're like, I don't know what our future looks like. But when they've gone out and allowed all these cleaning agents to come in, Jesus, to clean it all up, they were better than ever. And God has used them to be a tool to see Jesus in them. There you go. James 1:2-4 says, test me. Look at your spouse, say, test me. But this is saying, test me, Lord, and try me. Examine my heart and my mind. And so that's really what I want you to really get the message of this. Examine me, Lord. Examine my heart. Examine my heart. We've tried to be a little funny and a little lighthearted, but it truly is so important that every step, just like an encounter that we go to, every step, first was the salvation, the next part is forgiveness. And so you need to make sure before we go on to tomorrow that we all have asked the Lord, what do I need to clean out? What agent do I need? What product do I need here? What do we need? And maybe even write that down underneath how you rated your thing. Hey, these are some of the things I think that we need. We have to ask to receive forgiveness. We have to release. Everybody say release. And we have to remove every stain. Tonight we're going to ask the Lord just to help us expose every hurt that we have experienced in this room. Many of you here may have been mistreated. I just wrote down several different things. Maybe you're just indifferent with each other. Maybe you have a lot of petty things that you let get the best of you. Some of you may have felt abused or betrayed. Maybe a spouse has even had an affair, or you dealt with pornography in your marriage. These are all big things. But God can take the magic eraser if you allow him, and he can erase it clean. Amen? Do you believe that? No matter how big it is, he can take care of it. If we just say, Jesus, forgive me, and then you say, forgive me to the spouse. John 10:10, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come to give you life and have it to the full. Matthew 19:26, with man, this is impossible, but with God, everybody say but. With God, what is it? All things are possible. Tell your spouse, all things are possible. Mark 10:27, Jesus looked at them intently and said, humanly speaking, it is impossible, but not with God. Everything is possible with God. You may have come in here with a lot of junk that needs to get cleaned out, but I'm telling you, God can do it. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is too hard. Nothing is too bad of a stain that Jesus can't get it out to make it clean. Amen? This weekend, we will recommit our vows to each other. Tomorrow, that's how we're going to end it. We're going to renew our vows. So it's important that we do a lot of cleaning out over these next 24 hours. You know, we've been doing these, I think, about 16 years, and 2 different couples come to my mind when I teach this lesson. Because I remember saying, ask your spouse, would you do this all over again? And so Mary and Dwayne stand, Christy and Rob stand, and if we had time to bring them up, I think at this point in the encounter, you weren't so sure, right? But what did God do? He restored it. Everybody see Mary and Dwayne? Christy and Rob, I remember you. I think I have the video of you all sitting in a corner on the floor, right? And getting really real. And what happened? You just say from there. Forgiveness. You weren't sure. What was it that we spoke? Then you said you weren't sure. the key to forgiveness, okay, is to, okay, I have to forgive in order to be able to go forward and to have this marriage. And so I wanted you to see those two people that when I think of a marriage encounter, I know God healed both of those marriage at a marriage encounter. And so if you're sitting here, he can do the same for you. Amen? Amen. Tonight we have a decision to make. We have to extend forgiveness even if they don't deserve it in your eyes. Maybe you feel like they don't deserve it. There is freedom when you forgive. When you forgive, you watch what God's going to do. In my life, in several different things, as I have forgiven, I told somebody not too long ago, I can't even remember it. That's what God does. He will take that magic eraser, and when you offer that, when you say, I forgive, and that's the key, then that's what he can do. He can erase it. That you don't even, it's so far back that you don't even remember it. Just when maybe somebody, you need a little testimony, Pastor Mike always talks about a manure barn. You just give them just a little bit of it so that you can bring some healing, right? So just get a little bit of manure out of there, just give them a little bit of that testimony so healing can come.